Will West Virginia keep their seat at the Power Conference Big Boy table if college football moves to super conferences? Athletic Director Wren Becker addressed that in a press conference at the end of December, but I've also stumbled across some data that I want to share with you that has me a little bit concerned and a little bit skeptical. I'm going to talk about both of those right after this word from my sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. What is up? Welcome in to another edition of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar and let me pour you out this shot of top shelf college football content. On tap at Couz's Corner today, I'm going to talk to you about West Virginia and if I think they will be able to keep their seat at the big boy table in college football. I also want you to give me your thoughts in the comment section. And before we dig into it, please hit the thumbs up button if you think I earn it during this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. If you don't know, if you're new here, I cover West Virginia. I cover the Big 12 as much as I can, and I do a lot on conference realignment when that's happening. So if you like any of that, this is a channel for you. Now let's dig into the content. It's not up there with the Nebraskas. It's not up there with the Oklahomas. It's not up there with the Ohio States or the Notre Dames or the Texases or the Alabamas or the Georgias. You know the teams I'm talking about. West Virginia's not at that level when it comes to brand. It's not at that level when it comes to revenue. And it's not at that level when it comes to the size of their fan base and the size of the markets they're in many cases. So it has me a little concerned as a West Virginia fan, as I'm sure most fans of Big 12 teams are, and even ACC fans for that matter. Will our team be able to keep our seat at the big boy table, quote big boy table, if college football moves to a super conference model? Well, our athletic director, Wren Becker, seems to think so. And he gave an answer to this question in a press conference he did at the end of December. So, without further ado, I'm going to play this clip for you from Wren Becker's press conference in late December. Here we go.
So, I mean, obviously Washington State, Oregon State have been crushed. How confident are you that West Virginia isn't in the future in that predicament? They've had a spot at the table to this point, but is that going to continue?
I'm confident in where our positioning is. In a lot of ways, we're the gateway to the Northeast. I've said this before, we may only have a little less than 2 million people, but we are West Virginia's Dallas Cowboys. And so of those 1.8 million people, 1.6 million are following every possession. And so when you look at the valuations and you look at the viewership, and they're just in the last few days released the viewership numbers for all the Power 5 teams, we're always like right there in the mix. We're not in the top 10, but we're in the top half in terms of the valuations and what we draw from a viewership standpoint. And I think because of our population, it not being great, it shows the power and the reach of our brand, right? And we can get into the Pittsburgh market. We can get into DC and Baltimore. We have a broad reach. And so for all of those reasons, I'm just very confident in our positioning from a conference perspective. The other thing I would say is this program and this university mean too much to the state and the people here. I've learned that like the people here just won't let it not get what it needs to get. And so people are like, well, are you worried about Charlie Baker's proposal? And it would probably cost us an additional $8 to $10 million. No, because we're going to figure it out. One way or another, we are going to figure out how to compete at the highest of levels and how to provide whatever is allowed per NCAA rules that will allow this program to compete. I'm not going to let us not do that. I understand the pressure and the responsibility that comes with this position, but also West Virginians aren't going to allow that to happen. Our leadership at the board level, our leadership at the state level, our leadership here at the institutional level, like it's just not going to happen. Whatever the highest level of college athletics is, we will be a participant and we'll be competitive.
Now, great words by Wren Baker. I have all the faith in the world in Wren Baker. I think he was a home run hire as athletic director. We would be fortunate if we can keep him long term. I think he's that respected around the country. Any major jobs like blue blood jobs that come open as far as athletic director jobs go, there's a chance he could get on those schools list. I think he's that respected around the country. Every stop he's been at, he's been a superstar when it comes to fundraising, when it comes to increasing revenue for their athletic departments. I think he'll do the same at West Virginia. And I think West Virginia has a chance to keep that seat at the big boy table because of the things he mentioned. I mean, heck, just a couple days ago, Skull Sparks put out a list of the top 25 teams in the country, college football in 2023 when it comes to social media following. West Virginia was 23rd on that list. I wrote an article about it over on my website, couzescorner.com. Shameless plug there. But West Virginia's right there with the blue blood programs as far as fan interest goes. I think that means something when it comes to conference realignment decisions. However, I ran across some data on the Knight Commission website that has me a little bit concerned. And I'm going to share that with you. Now, I'm going to have to try to explain this the best I can. I'm no expert when it comes to college athletic finances or finances in general, for that matter. And there's a lot here to decipher, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. But as you see on the screen, there's orange lines, there are purple lines, there are dotted lines. This is comparing the median of the Power 5 conferences. And when I say median, for those of you who don't know what that means, it's taking this. If you take, for example, the Big 12, whatever school, let's say you're looking at revenue for the athletic department, whatever school falls in the middle of that conference, that's the median. It's comparing West Virginia's numbers to the median of the other Power 5 conferences, okay? Now, the orange lines are West Virginia. The purple lines are the median of the Power 5. The solid line is revenue. When you look at revenue, obviously you can kind of see there, West Virginia followed the same trend as everybody else. They were kind of on their way up, kind of following the same course until you get to, boom, 2018. All of a sudden, you see West Virginia see a drop in revenue in 2018. I don't know why that is. Someone who may know, let me know. But their revenue in 2018 was $102,684,423. The year prior in 17, it was $111,583,000, whereas the median in the Power 5 went from $112,990 to $121,537 in that same time period. So West Virginia fell while everybody else went up. You see here again, West Virginia has another major drop from 2019 to 2020. Now, I know the 2020 and then that drop again to 2021. Now, you've got the COVID year in there, and I get the COVID year affected everybody, but for whatever reason, it seemed to affect West Virginia more than other institutions from a revenue perspective. Now, when you look at expenses, that's this line right here. That's your expenses. The purple line is obviously the median of the Power 5. You see everybody's expenses are going up at arguably the same rate here. West Virginia, again, going up. Their expenses aren't going up as much as everybody else's, which you might, on the surface, that sounds like a good thing, especially if you're, managing your personal finances or managing the finances of a for-profit institution. I don't think it's that necessarily that good of a thing or that positive of a thing when you're managing a college athletics program, and I'll get to that in a second. But their expenses to even drop here from 2020 to 2021. But again, so did their revenue. So it looks like they're balancing their checkbook well, right? But there are two glaring things here that stick out to me that are issues for West Virginia. Number one is their debt. You see a huge increase in debt from 2014 to 2015 that puts them way above everybody else in the Power 5, or at least above the median programs at their level. And then you see another huge spike from 2017 to 2018. Now, West Virginia sold some bonds in order to do some renovations and upgrades to the Coliseum and to Milan Puskar Stadium, and they also and put in a new baseball stadium. Now, I'm not sure if those are included in these numbers or not. I'm not sure of the timeline there. But whatever the case may be, there's major debt that has been taken on. And Shane Lyons talked about that. We've even heard Wren Baker talk about it. Major debt here. They're almost $200 million in debt in 2018. Now, that debt has dropped, but again, we saw another spike here in 2021. Not sure what's driving that. That could be a potential barrier for West Virginia, right? The other thing that concerns me is when you look at these two lines right here, these are football spending. This is the amount of money schools spend on the sport of football. As you see, schools in the middle of the Autonomy 4, the median and the other power conferences are outpacing West Virginia from a football spend. Now, even though West Virginia is trying to be fiscally responsible here, it appears, to me, that's an issue because they're not running a business here. They don't have to make a profit in college athletics. As long as you break even, you're good, right? But their football spending here just is not lining up. Now, some of that could be because they're not making enough revenue. Some of that could be because of the debt they have. Whatever it is. But whatever is causing this, maybe it's just because they're trying to be frugal with the checkbook. But whatever it is, West Virginia is lagging behind other Power 4 schools in the amount of money they spend on football, which tells me, or which makes me question, rather, are they taking football seriously enough at West Virginia? Is the leadership at West Virginia taking football seriously enough to where they're willing to spend money to compete? Now, Wren Baker seems to say that they are. But at the end of the day, every decision he makes has to be signed off on by the president and by the board of directors. So will the board of directors be willing to spend the money that's needed to compete is concern number one. And number two, are they so far behind because they just now got Wren Baker in place? Was it too little too late? Should they have hired somebody like him 3, 4, 5 years ago? But now that they waited till 2022 to move on from Shane Lyons and bring him in, is he going to have enough time? The college football landscape is shifting so fast. Is he going to have time to catch West Virginia up with the rest of the quote-unquote big boys and schools that might be in those power conferences? That's a concern I have. Now, at the bottom here, you just see numbers that are put to the chart I showed you. Don't need to go over all those. The chart kind of shows you what you need to see. West Virginia's spending less money than other schools in most cases, but they're also bringing in less revenue, and they have a lot of debt. A lot of debt. Now, I wanted you to let me know what you think in the comment section about West Virginia's financial situation. Do you think they are in a financial situation to be able to keep up with the quote-unquote big boys, with the blue blood programs, with the power conference programs that are out there? Can they keep a seat at the big boy table when it moves on? Do you have enough faith in Wren Baker that he can get West Virginia where they need to be? I do. Now, these numbers concern me. They do concern me. But as long as West Virginia can keep Wren Baker at the helm, keep him as athletic director, for a long period of time through this transition from the current landscape that we're in now to the future, I think West Virginia can do it. And I think the brand is strong enough that they will be attractive to the power conferences. But again, we will see. Time will tell. I want to know what you think. Guys, also, I want to give a shout out right now to the names scrolling along the bottom of my screen. Those are VIP channel members here at Couz's Corner. I try to give a shout out at least 4 of them each episode. In this episode, I'm shouting out the following members: Brandon Bailey, Big E 7375, Shannon Miller, and David Cummings. I thank you all for being VIP members here at Couz's Corner. If you want to become a member of this exclusive club, hit the join button below or go to the link in my description box. There's a link there for you to join my channel. Also, I mentioned it earlier, you can go check out my website, Couz'sCorner.com. There are a lot of good blog articles over there that you can read from myself and others that cover West Virginia sports. We even cover baseball and women's basketball over there as much as we can. So go check that out, Couz'sCorner.com. Also, you can sign up if you want to get on my email list. Just sign up there. It's totally free. Drop me a line and join the email subscription list. And every time a new article comes up, it will be emailed to you. You can do that at Couz'sCorner.com. If you want to see a video that talks about West Virginia and if they're making the right decision when it comes to future football schedules, check out the video right here. I appreciate you tuning in. Have a top shelf day and Q Country Roads.